Hey, what's going on, guys? This Gundam Schwarzette is here, marking the next HG Gundam release in the Witch from Mercury line, which I've been enjoying very much. I know a lot of you guys have as well. This one looks like a very cool design. Let's go ahead and get into it here for today's review. Starting off with the box here, as usual, we have some really beautiful artwork here on the front. A little bit more subdued, as it's not like a super duper action scene. I guess we just have the Gundam kind of floating or flying there in space. It looks very nice. We've got that really nice painting style with the lighting effects and everything here going on with artwork, which does make it look very nice. Notably, seam lines here on the shoulders as well, which apparently are just a part of the design, but we'll come back and talk more about that later, I feel. So moving on to the side of the box, we can see this is number 25 in the line, and here on the bottom, we've got a recreation of the box art here with an actual painted version of the kit, and there you can see there's those same lines on the shoulders, which apparently are a part of the design. You can also see that here on the legs, so yes, more on that. But it's got its sword, and this sword, which is what breaks up into what you can see as these splayed out kind of fins there on the back, as it were. It also makes for this large cannon, and over here on the little bit of text that we have on this, seems like much less text than normal. It explains about the multi-purpose attack and defense platform. A Guardian is included, and its various forms can be recreated, as we can see here from some of the images here on the side. We also have a picture of the unpainted state, exactly what the kit is going to look like out of box, but we'll see that obviously much more in just a moment. Here on the opposite side, the top of the box, we've got a look at the kit painted front and back there, and then a little bit about the pilot and the story here. That's all in Japanese and in English. All pretty typical, and as you can see, the box is about pretty standard thickness here. Let's go ahead and get it opened up. On the inside, there's that sticker sheet straight away, which is actually the first of two sticker sheets. As you can see, we have another one right there. So we'll talk some more about that in just a moment. I believe those are the different type of like plastic stickers. And let's first take a look here at the instructions. Where here on the front, we have the box art minus the space background. Once again, we have some information down here about the Gundam and its pilot there, both in Japanese and in English. Background on the back, we have the artwork for the Gundam there, which again does look very cool, and as usual doesn't seem to exactly match the colors of the actual model kit. It looks more of like a light gray, and this is much more of like an off-white here on the Gundam itself. Anyway, though, we have the information here about the Guardian sheath, showing that in a couple of different poses there, the Guardian marionette, and the Guardian draw. So some of the different forms there, including with this, the base sets, which are of course not included with this. You have to get those as the separate Witch from Mercury display bases, which are sold separately. Over here on this side of the back of the manual, we've got our color guide. This is once again also in Japanese and in English. On the inside is our parts list, which is all there in full color for you, and the first part of the construction is also going to be in color. The first couple of pages. The rest of the construction on the inside of the manual here is just going to all be in black and white, but everything's all laid out there pretty simply and easily there for you. Let's take a look at the stickers. The foil stickers here are your pretty standard foil stickers. We have a lot of these which are optional, so you're really only going to use about half of what you see on here. You're either going to use the active or inactive versions of these stickers, which it looks like most of these are going underneath the clear parts, therefore around on the kit. So that's all not too bad, pretty typical for the line. This larger sheet here for going in the effect parts, for going on the inside of the Guardian, I should say, once again has different versions. So again, you're only going to be using half, and this is in fact the more thicker kind of plastic stickers. You've seen these before, but these are really quite nice. They have a mirror finish on the back, so making sure that they're going to be very nice and bright, and they give off the appearance of looking like a plastic part, just because they're, you know, like a sticker on a thin layer of plastic essentially, rather than just only being a sticker itself. So those should look pretty nice on the kit. As for the runners, starting off first off, we've got runner A here, which is in 4 colors. Clear pink up here for the beam effect part for the sword, a fluorescent pink down here for the eye parts, off-white, and this dark gray over here for some more of the armor pieces. Runner B is going to be all the rest of our off-white parts here for the kit, for the weapons and armor. Runner C is going to be all of our frame and joint type parts here in this kind of purplish gray color here. And then lastly, runner D is going to be in this smoky kind of clear gray color there for all of our clear parts. And that's it. Alright, and here is the Gundam all built up. As far as the HG Witch from Mercury kits go, I mean, it's pretty standard in that it's very good. There's a lot of really nice things that I'm going to be saying about this kit, one of which is just about the accessories. Well, the number of accessories is not necessarily that much. It's amazing just how much gimmick is built into the one main weapon that it does have. So that's going to be kind of our main focus here for this. It's got its main weapon, and there's just a lot of different stuff that it can do. So it's very interesting, but the kit itself is really nice and does take advantage of the stickers underneath the clear parts on this to make some pretty cool effects around on the Gundams. So that makes it visually interesting. Aside from that, it's just a really cool and unique design, I think, for this one. Very interesting color scheme as well. Just the whole just kind of like black and white and gray color scheme on it. That also helps those bright little details to pop there in the design. So very cool. Let's go ahead and get into it. So aside from the main Guardian weapon, which we'll talk quite a bit about, we really only have an optional hand here. So aside from these two holding hands which you have on the kit, you have this open hand here for the left side, and that's really kind of about it for accessories. We got our beam effect part, which is going to go on our part of the Guardian weapon there, which we'll take a look at here just a second, and a few of these little connector bits like this, which again we will use for the different forms for equipping the different gun bits around on the kit. So with this one weapon, it's basically made up of 7 different parts. So we have 4 offensive and 2 defensive gun bits in there, and then kind of the main actual sword section in there, which is kind of the core, what all the other bits are around. So on the outside of here, if you wanted to just use this as a cannon, as these are gun barrel bits there at the end, you can fold out this part right here, fold out the secondary handle here on this side, and you do have that on both sides, and you can use this for a two-handed grip, one here and one here, or I guess on both sides, depending on however you might want to mount that. You can also use this if you fold that back in. This is going to be our peg for plugging this here onto the back skirt for storage when not in use. You can plug that right onto there. Now this weapon is going to be pretty heavy just because it is made up of quite a lot of parts, and those plastic stickers are in there as well. So it is going to have some good weight to it. The kit seems like it should be solid enough to be able to hold up the weight, but I mean, it is going to make it back heavy, you know, once you have this attached onto the back of there, so you might have some stability issues. That said, the feet are also pretty nice here on this one, and we'll come back to the articulation, but like for example, you can move those backwards like that, which should give you plenty of feet on the ground to be able to stand in pretty much any pose and not have any weight issues or balance issues. So with these different sections, if we kind of take this apart, you can kind of break this down into the different sections here like this, which then can be used with the effect base for mounting this in some different poses with the gun bits flying around in every which direction. But I just wanted to show you guys how the plastic stickers look inside here. They do look really nice and add for a nice effect. They make it look like it's like an actual clear part or something like that in there, which looks very cool. So obviously I did go ahead and use the activated versions of the stickers for everywhere around on the kit. If you guys remember from the sticker sheet, we had stickers for making these as either active or inactive. I went for the active stickers for everywhere. That's going to be under the clear parts here in the legs. On the forearms, there's no clear part that goes over that, but you just have those there. Here in the shoulders, obviously on the front and back, we have clear parts over the top of those stickers. Same thing here in the chest, the top of the chest and the front of the chest, less noticeable, but unlike the bottom part right there, there's also stickers underneath the clear part. And then obviously here for the head, a sticker underneath that clear part in the top. The eyes, however, are not a sticker, as those are molded like that, so those are really, really nice. And overall, the molding of the head in general, just the color separation of it with the Vulcans and the vents being that separate gray, and then you have the same gray pieces, which is what's going in around the eyes there, and then the black piece for the little chin piece, and the 2 little black horns sticking up at the top. Anyway, the part separation here on the head in particular is very, very nice, and that's something that we've seen with a lot of the Gundam designs, especially from this line, that the part separation, it seems like they put a lot of effort into the head in particular to make that very nice and detailed and color separated, so that they're not relying on stickers for a lot of these small little color apps, which are generally kind of typical around in the head and face area. But just getting back to the weapon there, once you remove all the gun bits off of it, you just have your kind of basic sword here, which you can then slot on the effect part. Kind of tight to get in there, but once you do, that's gonna look really, really nice. I really like this just as a weapon on its own, just because it's nice to see a beam sword weapon, which is just different from your standard beam saber that we see all too often. So this one is nice just to have it as just something a little bit different. And as for options for how you want to mount the gun bits on there for the Guardian marionette form, you can see you can mount them like all off to the side here. You can mount them spreading out from both sides there on the backpack. You can have them sort of like like on the back there in a little bit different way, or you can have them all mounted kind of like off the back skirt section there. So there's a few different ways that you can have those mounted on, and we will take a look at all of those. But just come back to the kit here for a moment to briefly talk about the articulation, because overall the articulation is going to be pretty similar to all the other Gundams in the line. But as usual, we've got a nice double joint here for the neck, which will allow some very good upward movement, and then down as well here in the shoulders. The shoulder joint will swing out to the front, once again giving you some nice articulation there. The shoulder armor will move up, and the arm is able to move up very far upwards there for some nice range of movement there. Rotation at the bicep, double joint at the elbow, and one nice feature here is that we have a separate piece of armor here which is attached onto the back of the elbow joint, so you have some nice armor separation here between the armor here, like that. Very cool. Around here on the backpack real quick, there is a little bit of movement here with these parts will move up and down, and then these parts which just give you a hard point for the gun bits that will also rotate. It's kind of hard to rotate with nothing plugged into there, but just you can see that those also rotate there. In the midsection there, we have a nice forward bend like so. Not really so much side to side, but a little bit of a side to side bend there, and then some rotation at the midsection. The front skirts will move up and down. You can clip those apart for separate articulation if you'd like. The back skirt does also move up and down a little bit, but not really too much there. And these side skirts are basically just attached onto the side of the thigh, so you can rotate those around as needed. Otherwise, the legs are able to come out to the side nice and wide, up to the front, pretty good there as well. Nothing really in the way for that articulation. A double joint in the knee with some nice separation of this knee armor is very cool. And then down here at the ankles, the whole foot will be able to swing forward and back like so. This front little bit of ankle armor is on a small little ball joint, so you can kind of move that around a little bit. The toe, kind of front toe, is also able to move forward and back like that, and you got some nice detail up underneath there. And then as you saw earlier, these back bits can also fold down like so for giving you a better stance, better balance like that, which is nice. And then obviously the whole foot can rotate in here, very similar to like the HG Iron Blood Orphans kits, so you won't have any problems getting a very nice wide stance out of that and keeping the feet flat on the ground. And before we take a look at some poses here with this, one gripe that I do have with the design, as I do really like the design of this one. Actually, once I got the kit all built up, I actually appreciate the design even more. But there's a couple features, like for example here, this panel line detail on the top of the shoulder, that's obviously there to just hide a seam line between these two halves of the shoulder, and it just kind of makes it look a little bit lazy. So when we come around here onto the side, you can see there's like this sort of like square detail there, and the separation between the two parts just kind of goes around the one side, and that's just going to make it kind of a little bit awkward to paint, to model that part of it right there. And then we have the same thing down here on the front of the legs. This panel line detail just seems like a kind of lazy attempt to just kind of build the part separation here, as that's going to be a seam line, just to make the seam line a part of the design, which I feel like it's less bothersome down here on the front of the leg, because this line as just a panel line kind of, I guess, makes a little bit more sense than this one, which just kind of seems like very obviously just there to hide the seam. So yeah, I feel like if that was just a regular seam line, I'd be here like telling you that it's an ugly seam line, and then the fact that Bandai turned it into a panel line, I'm also like still kind of complaining about it. But I don't know, you guys can let me know what you think about that. Do you like that panel line as a detail there on the leg and the shoulder, or do you wish that that was just a regular seam line and you just want to just get rid of it like you normally would? I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Aside from that though, guys, like I said, this is a really cool kit with a lot of really interesting gimmicks, mostly all built into that weapon, but it's really interesting to see like just how much you can do with that. And it was, I think, just a very creative just overall design for this one, not only the Gundam itself but the weapon. I think this one really is a great example of how creative the designs have been for this line. We've had some of the designs, some of the model kits and the mobile suit designs that have come out that have been, you know, unique in their designs, but not necessarily introducing anything all that new or exciting. You know, it was just kind of a different skin kind of for stuff that we've seen before, but this one does feel quite unique in the fact that it's a very interesting and different design, and then also has some quite unique gimmicks compared to anything that we've really seen before. So I do really like that about this. And so obviously that makes this one that I could highly recommend for you guys to check out if you've been been enjoying the line so far, or if you haven't checked out anything in the line so far, or maybe just a couple kits here and there, if you're wondering if this is one that you should really pick up, I would definitely recommend checking this one out just for its uniqueness. And again, I feel like I've been saying that a lot about a lot of the kits in this line so far, but this one I think is one of the most unique designs amongst a series which is full of unique designs. So I guess hopefully I'm driving that point home with this. And again, it would have been nice for this kit to include the effect stands in the box so that you don't have to buy them separately. But if you are enjoying these HG kits in the line and you're enjoying posing them with the gun bits and everything, like if you like using those effect parts typically, I would just recommend picking up a few of the effect stands for this series, just because there's quite a few mobile suits that use them, and they do use them to pretty good effect anyway. So definitely pick up a couple of those for your guys' building experience. But that's it for this review, guys. Check out this kit at USA Gundam Store. The link will be down in the video description below. This kit and obviously the rest of the kits in the series, you guys can check those out there at USA Gundam Store. And if you'd also like to like and or subscribe while you're here, that would be greatly appreciated. I really appreciate all your guys' support. Thank you so much. Until next time, hope you guys have a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.